to heal other people as a light worker and how not to. If you are interested, let's dive in. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Sylvia Salow and I help light workers, starseeds and priestesses to remember who they are, to step into their highest potential and to channel their gifts to create a life they desire. And today I want to talk about something that keeps coming up so many times in my work with private clients. Because I work with gifted people, with light workers, and they all are known for their desire to help other people. If you are a light worker, you've been always helping other people. Maybe you were a parent to your parents. Maybe you were there for your friends, for other children. Maybe you were always there to just like guide or listen to people. And so it's very natural in you. You always think about other people first. And so this healing, helping comes so easily. And I just want to give you some tips and how to think about healing people in a way that actually works also for you. So let's dive in. We can heal people from different levels of consciousness. For simplicity, I'm going to call the first level of consciousness the ego. By that, I'm not saying the ego is only wrong, terrible, and so on. It's just, let's call it the ego level of healing. And the other is like the soul and higher self level of healing. So for simplicity, let's imagine those two options. If you are a light worker, you likely had quite difficult childhood. And you have been trying to heal your parents or other family members. And you've been doing it by basically taking into your aura their energetic blockages, so their emotional patterns, their beliefs. And when you bring it to your aura, what happens is that it stays there. The energy cannot move. Why? Because you cannot heal in this way something that doesn't belong to you. And so you just keep having this blockage in your own aura and trying to heal it. But what you are actually doing unintentionally is that you help carry that burden, of your parents. And you are just helping them to not to be in it alone, basically. It's like shared pain. But in that shared pain, there is no healing. 100 people can feel the same pain, but it doesn't mean it's going to heal them. So I want you to think about like when you are healing someone by just sharing their burden with you, carrying their patterns with them, what's going to happen? Unfortunately, it only like postpones the time for the other person to heal. Why? It's a similar concept as if you have a child and the child is in the first grade and they have the basic mathematics. They are learning that 1 + 1 = 2. And now imagine that your child came to you and told you, oh, it's so difficult. I have this homework, 1 + 1, and I don't know, what's the result. And you're like, oh, it's easy, let me tell you, it's 2, 2 + 3 is 5, and so on. Well, it may feel good for you that you were useful, but is it good for your child in that long term? If you always do their homework, if you always count those mathematical things on their behalf, are they going to learn? And so unintentionally, you are depriving other people of learning from their lessons. And unfortunately, there's a lot to the saying that sometimes people need to hit rock bottom to start healing, to start understanding, to start changing things. And it's because you cannot help someone to heal something by removing that lesson from them. Because on the soul level, the soul is here to learn different lessons. And yes, learning lessons, just like for all of us, it means making lots of mistakes. And it's normal and it's okay. But if you rush in and you're like, I don't want you to make any mistake, I don't want you to fall, I'm going to do it on your behalf, is that really helpful? Is it really healing? Or is it perhaps your ego just has tied your sense of worth to being helpful to other people, and you don't know who you are outside of being helpful and useful for other people? Maybe you think that other people find you interesting or want to talk to you just because you can give them something. And it's a pattern you have learned since childhood. And so when we work on this level of healing, what we are unconsciously creating is codependency between us and those other people. They become dependent on us. And as I said, there's no healing happening. What they actually subconsciously want is our energy. So there's that codependency. Let's say your friend has always the same issue and she calls you every week to complain and talk about the same things you have discussed for years. And there's no evolution, there's no progress. If there's nothing like healing the other person, then clearly it's not working. So in this case, when your friend calls you to complain, but she's actually not looking for the healing, what's happening is she is tapping into your energy because you maybe are compassionate and tell her, I don't know, I'm so sorry, and so on. And it gives her an energetic boost, which helps her to stay locked in the same ego pattern for her. Now she has more energy to make that pattern stronger. But there is no healing happening. I hope this makes sense somehow, because I know this is a topic that can trigger lots of people, and I'm definitely not coming from that place. The place I come from is because I see gifted people spending their energy in wrong places. I see gifted people having mysterious illnesses, getting sick, being burned out, not having enough energy to step into their potential. And it's because of this. Not only, but this is a big theme. And so I just want you to know there is a different way of healing. Instead of making people codependent on you, you can uplift them. You can hold a higher energetic state. You hold higher frequency. So when you are healing someone, you don't lower your frequency to meet their level. Because then you have two same frequencies and there is no third energy that can be created out of it. And it's that third energy that creates the healing. So if you hold high frequency, and let's say your friend is having lower frequency, and you hold this one, when you come together, it creates a third frequency, which brings that healing. It shifts everything. And so your task as a light worker is to learn to hold high frequency no matter what. No matter what's happening, no matter who is around you, no matter what's the case. Because the moment you lower the frequency, you cannot help the other person anymore. The moment you feel emotionally invested in the other person, you cannot help them. It doesn't mean you are not compassionate. You can actually be compassionate in the genuine way, not from that egoistic way. Your heart is fully open for the other person, but you are holding that high frequency during that healing. There is a saying that like two blind people cannot really walk each other, right? And it's the same thing. You need to be able to see what's going on to help. It's like if you have friends who have identical problems to you, likely you just keep talking about that problem and it doesn't help anyone. Why? Because you are on the same frequency. But if you talk to a healer or a coach who holds that high frequency and who holds that space for you, all of a sudden you feel everything lifting. You start to see and understand your patterns that were holding you in that lower frequency. There is an evolution, and this is true healing. This is how you heal as a light worker, through your soul or higher self. And this way of healing doesn't cost you any energy. Actually, it feels like you are receiving more energy and you end up having more energy after that healing. That's one of the very important signs to know from which level we are healing. If it's in that codependent way, in that ego way, we feel depleted. If it's from that soul higher self energy, you feel more energy, because as you are holding that high frequency and that energetic space for the other person and looking at it from a neutral perspective, not from your past experiences, you don't have any expectations, you hold that neutral perspective. You are fully present and focused. You are receiving energy of your soul and your higher self and God. And so you are receiving at the same moment as the other person is receiving. You both receive. So I invite you to really look deep into your motivation, especially when it comes to friendships and family members, because there you think it's a special case, like you had history together, you are emotionally invested in each other's lives, and maybe it doesn't allow you to hold that high frequency or stay in that neutral state. So it's especially in those places where you want to practice and you want to really start healing from your soul's energy instead. So I also invite you to look at those like family friendship dynamics and really ask yourself, why do you feel like you want to save them or help them? I call it the lightworker savior complex. It actually comes from the ego, although it sounds nice, maybe, I don't know, to some, but it comes from the ego. It's like, I know better than you know. Because if you want to take on people's burdens, as I said, it's not healing them, first of all, and it's getting you stuck. But also, there is this kind of belief that you don't think that the soul of the other person can guide them. You don't believe that they maybe go through something because there is some higher reason. There is lots of control and not enough faith or knowing. And so it actually doesn't come from the genuine space if you look deep within yourself. Another thing that happens is if you are trying to heal someone and there is that like attachment to healing the other person, it usually is because the other person has some aspect that you haven't healed in yourself yet. That's why you care so much whether they heal, because you're actually trying to heal yourself through healing them. This is very subconscious, very subtle dynamics. And if it happens, then be gentle with yourself. You are not the first and the last light worker. I think all light workers go through these stages. But the result is that you feel depleted. Your life gets blocked and stuck because you carry lots of these things in your aura. And also many people are sick or they don't have this like perfect health. And other things are like not flowing in their lives. And also, if you focus on a few people with whom you are solving the same thing for a couple of years, imagine what you could do with that energy instead. So do you focus on healing a few people, or are you going to elevate it and truly step into that healer archetype and work with more people, for people who are ready, and learn to hold that higher frequency? So in the true healing, there is never any attachment, expectation. It comes from a neutral space. It's just the presence looking through your inner eyes, seeing what's happening and what needs to happen next. It actually guides you through that healing. It's so much easier. And it creates a beautiful overflow of energy, which you then have available to step even more boldly and consciously into your purpose. So I hope this resonates, and I hope that you were listening with your heart, because when I did this video in the past, I know it triggered some people. So I hope that you know what I was trying to convey in this message. And if you liked it, please like, share and subscribe, and I see you next time.